One man, one mission, to rid the world of chronic anxiety once and for all. The Anxiety Guy, Dennis Simsek, shares his personal transformation from living a life filled with overwhelming worry to becoming a full-fledged positivity machine, a leading authority in generalized anxiety. Dennis gets to the truth of your mental health challenges and sets you on a path to transforming each and every area of your life. Here he is, the one and only, the Anxiety Guy.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Anxiety Guy podcast. This is episode number 13. I'm Dennis Simsek. Thank you so much for joining me today and welcome. Make sure to subscribe through iTunes for this podcast to get all the updates. As well, my Facebook page and Twitter under The Anxiety Guy will also have a ton of posts, interviews, fantastic articles for anybody suffering from chronic stress, anxiety, and just my own point of view. And some of you guys know my story, some don't. I suffered from anxiety for over 6 years, chronic health anxiety that left me crippled in the emergency room constantly with nowhere to turn. And I'm kind of explaining through this podcast what sort of steps I took in order to recover naturally after suffering for 6 years. And with that, reach a dream, actually, of playing professional tennis, which was a dream, a lifelong dream, which I actually have written a book about under The Anxiety Guy on Amazon. So you can also check that out if you'd like. And today's episode is all about emotions. And this episode here has been a long time coming. I've wanted to do this episode for a while, and I'm just really happy that I can finally share some of my stories, share some of my suggestions as far as emotions go. Now, with anxiety, I don't know if you can relate, but with me, I was really fearful of having any type of an emotion when it came to my anxiety disorder, because during those stressful days, during those anxious times, those panic disorder days of mine, and just being really fearful of anything, I always felt like if I had an emotion, whether it's positive or negative, I always felt like that would trigger my panic. That would trigger something within me, and next thing you know, I would be succumbed to this fearful state that I was just dreading so much. And it got to the point where I turned my emotions completely off, and that became quite automatic. It was basically on autopilot for a while. And things that would normally make me feel, really joyful or really sad or really angry, or, the list of different emotions that people go through on a daily basis, I wasn't feeling any of those emotions. You can almost see that I was numb. I was like a numb person. And people saw it in me, I didn't have too many different facial expressions. I didn't have too much energy. I didn't have good vibes. I wasn't at a high vibration, that's for sure, when I was mingling with people and so forth. That's different now. But I was always really fearful of having an emotion, because an emotion in my mind meant that I would be having another catastrophic panic attack. And if not a panic attack, then I would basically be so sensitized to everything that I'd live in constant fear. And that's what emotions meant to me. And I just turned it off completely. And it was the wrong thing to do, now that I look back, because what I should have done, instead of shut off my emotions completely due to the fear of continuous panic attacks or that change of state that I had, what I should have done was I should have made the connection between a negative emotion, something that is negative, and my panic, compared to what is positive. So what I should have really done was really started to work on my positive emotions. Not just turn emotions completely off, but really start to train myself to train myself to, for example, laugh again. Because I know a lot of people out there suffering with anxiety that laughing can be such a struggle, such a foreign thing. I mean, just the simple action of just smiling can be so foreign to someone with anxiety. And I get it. I totally get it. And it's up to you, the anxiety sufferer, to begin training yourself for positive emotions. So that means watching a TV show, for example, that's going to make you laugh. That means that practicing on a daily basis of using those positive emotions when you're talking to people, when you're at work, when you're driving in your car and you got the music blaring, whatever it may be, practicing those positive emotions rather than turning emotions completely off. And I hope that as an anxiety sufferer and you're listening to this on iTunes or you're watching this on YouTube, that you understand where I'm coming from, because it's really important. It's really important that you train yourself. And training yourself and discipline, and these words usually have kind of a negative connotation behind it. But I want you guys to understand that the word discipline, if it wasn't for the word discipline, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be successful. I wouldn't have overcome my anxiety. I wouldn't be living daily fearlessly and taking those chances. So discipline, guys, is a really positive thing. It's important that you begin that snowball effect, that momentum changer in your way there, because it's important to get some momentum going. Being stale, reacting to life, reacting to people, reacting to the outer world and what's going on out there is just going to lead to more fear and anxiety. It's time today, starting today, for you to take control of your life. And the way you take control of your life is you decide. First things first, you decide. I was always looking for that magic pill. I was always looking for that person, that therapist, to come in and give me one sentence that would change everything. But to be honest with you, I tried over 1,000 different things, techniques, medications, herbs, this and that. And it wasn't until the point that I decided that I'm going to do this naturally. It's going to take some time. I need to be persistent, and I need to stick with something for a while. And that something for me was called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. But as well, once I started to work on my emotions, once I started to train myself, once I started to become more disciplined on a daily basis of what I do in the morning, what I do at lunch, and what I do in the evening, I started to become more conscious of why my anxiety was alive. And the reason my anxiety was alive is because I was living in a world of reaction. And I'm sure that you can understand what I'm talking about. The same routine every single day, the same fearful thoughts in the morning, the same panic attacks in the evening, whatever it may be. And I'm here to tell you guys that it's really important to almost cut your day into 3 different segments. The morning, the lunch, and the evening. Where is it that you're struggling? Where is it in those 3 segments that you feel like I'm really sensitized? For me, for example, it was more in the morning, because in the morning I was waking up and automatically my environment in my house all reminded me of panic attacks. It reminded me of my fears. So I had to change my environment, first of all. I needed to put a notepad beside me next to my room. And when I woke up, I needed to start to share some of my thoughts on the notepad. just, what's going on in my mind. I needed to externalize. I needed to get that out of me. I couldn't internalize that anymore because that led to those anxious feelings in the morning. So a good way is just break it down into 3 segments. I'm struggling at lunchtime. What are you doing that's leading up to lunchtime? I'm struggling in the evening. What is leading up to your anxiety that is at its peak in the evening? And see, it could be part of your diet. It could be those thoughts that are just kind of rotating over and over again. So make sure to check that out there, guys. And I apologize for those beeps there, by the way. Cooking something. But this episode is all about training your positive emotions, not getting rid of emotions completely, but just getting rid of your negative emotions, starting to train yourself and your positive emotions more. I look forward to seeing you guys again in episode number 14. Make sure to check me out on Facebook and Twitter under The Anxiety Guy. Again, I apologize for that beeping. I'll see you guys in episode number 14. If you have any questions, hit me up on anxietyexit.com. See you guys really, really soon. Take care.